Hi everybody, this is Flo. Welcome to a new episode of the KMS Quick Shots. Today I'm joined by American musical multi-talent Theresa. Theresa, hi there. Thank you so much for meeting me.
Hello. Hey, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So I think it's safe to say that music isn't just a part of your life, but it is your life. Being an advertising music executive, a singer, songwriter, producer, live act performer, could it be that you were just born with music flowing through your veins?
I think I was Flo. I grew up always singing, from like my earliest memories of like as long as I can remember. I always loved music. I always loved to sing. I was always making up my own songs. I still remember the first album my father bought me, and it was Laura Branigan's Branigan album featuring Gloria. Uh, yeah, it's definitely something that's super ingrained in me. And even when I'm off, like when I turn off, you'll hear me around the apartment singing songs to my cats or just humming stuff. It's just who I am.
Was there any major supporter back in the days when you discovered that you were a musician? Like, did your parents pay you for music classes or anything?
Actually, they didn't. It was always tough at home. I mean, my parents always supported me and wanted me to be as creative as possible, but we always kind of had some restrictions with our budget, and I didn't really have like a lot of. I always wanted to be in dancing school, and I was always told we can't afford it, kind of thing,
Mm.
which always stinks, right? But at the same time, it put me on a different trajectory, so I was able to do other things and have other life lessons that I think kind of helped me. But yeah, I think that they always encouraged me. Hey, I would always get like we might have had some like money problems, but I would still get like great Christmas gifts, like a keyboard or a new CD player or thing, or albums, but we might not have been able to do one thing, but they were able to do other things.
So, was there any specific moment that you thought as a kid growing up, okay, I'm a musician, I'm an artist, or was it a process from doing several stuff?
I think I just always knew it's something that I wanted to do. Like I remember seeing like Madonna, like a virgin. Oh, I'm getting a call right now. Like a virgin. And being like, oh my God, I like love her. I want to do what she's doing. And I feel that it's something it, that was like I just had a feeling that I was gonna go and do and follow in Madonna's footsteps, and that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I wanted to do. But no, like it's funny. I never said to myself, "Oh," and I'm thinking about it now, Flo. I'm literally in my head, and I'm thinking, it was never a conscious decision. Like it was just something ingrained in me that I'm like, I got to do this.
Do
I'm gonna
you
write music. I'm gonna start writing songs, and I
that
started writing songs.
that would have been the right the next question. Was there a moment? Do you remember your first song you actually wrote yourself?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
still back from back then, you kept writing songs, or was there a time where you interrupted, lay down the whole thing, and said, "No, I'm gonna focus on other stuff."
Yeah, I started writing songs at a very, very early age. I started my songwriting notebooks when I was 11. I know that specifically because when I was 11, I wrote a song called Love is Like Bubblegum. And I would write all these songs with a pencil just in case I wanted to erase things as I was working. And I'm a lyric and melody girl. So, like, lyric and melody just comes to me. And
Mhm.
I just come up with the idea and I just kind of run with it. Whether or not I come up with like the lyrics, say, the sky is blue, or I come up with this like a melody, and then I put the sky is blue, to it, like that's how I work. I'm not sitting at a keyboard or strumming a guitar. So yeah, when I was 11, I started writing a lot, and it just like again, like a song called Love is Like Bubblegum. Like sometimes love is sticky, sometimes love is hard. And then through all of my like preteen and teenage years, I was always writing music. And as I was kind of growing in my formative years, my music kind of always like, kind of shifted in my experience, my life experiences. So, as I was starting to date, I think there was like always that time of like being fascinated by boys and having crushes, and then starting to get involved with boys, and then getting your heart broken and going through that, that those experiences. I think my music started to mature. So I wrote consistently, and I stopped writing, oddly enough, in 2007. Around then, I actually met my now husband, and it's not his fault that I stopped writing. Right before I met my husband, I kind of had this like decision in my head. I was starting to work at in the advertising world, and I was, kind of, picking up steam in my music producer role. And I was really enjoying that. And I was kind of not going anywhere. I was pretty stagnant in my artist role. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to shelve this music career, this songwriting career that I've been pursuing my whole life. I'm just going to put it away. And now I'm going to, meet this great guy. I'm going to have this great life. I still work in music. I'm still creative, but I'm not going to focus and put the energy into the songwriting. So it was a good, how 10 years, 10, 11 years before I said to myself, whoa, wait a minute. What did you do? You, Theresa, are an artist. You're a songwriter. You're a creator. You should be doing this. And I started writing again. I started writing again in January of 2019.
So did you miss the writing part of your life once you put it on the shelf, or was it just a phase in your life where you just didn't need it?
I think it was a phase in my life that I didn't need it, but I think that looking back, I needed it. I think that it's a very therapeutic tool for me. It's how I really express myself and how I'm able to kind of move past certain situations. It makes me kind of have those like aha moments a lot of times too. It's just a really great way to get out of even though I'm using my head and I'm in my head, it's a great way for me to get out of my head. I didn't like, so long story long, I really do think that I missed it, but I didn't realize I missed it. And now looking back, I think that it was a side of myself that I just wasn't revealing at the time. And I don't regret anything. I think life is life, and I'm really grateful for all the experiences I had without the songwriting. I just think it makes me a stronger artist now that I can go back and look at it like that.
Do you have other creative outlets? So did you focus on painting or anything like that?
No.
Once not? Okay.
No,
that's strange that a creative person is able to actually stash the creativeness someplace and pull it out there once needed. So usually if a creative person says, I cannot focus on that right now, there are at least a dozen other outlets where the people say, okay, I'm painting, I don't know, I'm constructing something or things like this.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I was working, I was hanging out with friends, but Flo, I went buck wild when I rediscovered my music. I went completely, I'm going to do this and nobody's going to hold me back. I'm going for it now. So like, I might have like not done it for like a good amount of time, but cut to now where I'm just like, woo, let's do this. Like, I feel like maybe because I'm older, maybe because I had like that lost time, that maybe I'm revealing more of myself than I would have revealed back then, because I'm like, well, what do I have to lose? I have nothing to lose, right? Like I already lost the time.
So that being said, let's talk about the evolution of a lady concept. I say it's a concept rather than not just a cool theme or a title of a track you did.
Yeah.
But I think doing my homework online, it's rather your lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is. I'm evolving every day. I think us as human beings, we evolve every day, and I'm a different person than I was yesterday, than I was 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago, 20 years ago, and into the future. Um, it's about how I want to put myself out there and show people that you don't have to be stuck in a box. You don't have to be stuck in your own box. Like I truly believe that once you kind of get yourself out of your own way, that anything is possible. And I've been going through those motions now again for the past 3 years or so, really reevaluating my life and my time, my energies, and focusing on what matters most to me. And music is plays such a huge role in that. And focusing my time. I'm so blessed to have such a wonderful career, in the advertising world, but I'm also able in my spare time to find that balance with my own music, my own writing, now performing, and also time with friends and family. I think that that's I'm striking this balance and showing my evolution. And sometimes my evolution is easier than others. And sometimes like I get in my own head and I have to share that with people. I think it's super important to follow the beat of your own drum, to follow your heart and your gut. And I think that sometimes, especially in this day and age, especially with social media, sometimes that's really hard. That fear of missing out,
True.
that fear of being somebody else. And I'm just trying to be here as a 42-year-old woman, who's following her dreams, to just show people like conduct your life the way you want to conduct it. Believe in yourself. It's hard. I get it. There's so much shit that gets in my way each and every day, and I have to kind of steer through it and be focused on what matters most to me. So I've been publicly sharing this evolution now, and it's been great. I've been getting a lot of great response. And again, talk about an evolution. I think that there's a lot of people in my life, friends and family, who didn't, when I started doing this, didn't even realize that I had aspirations of, pop stardom. And, I sometimes I don't even know what drives me. Just like I didn't wake up one day when I was a kid and say, I want to do this. I just knew I wanted to do it. It's kind of the similar path that I'm on right now. Like I'm just driven to do this. Like every day I'm just like, this is crazy. I'm doing so much work around the clock, but there's this like fire inside me that just like won't let me stop.
So, are there even people in your life who cannot go along with this energy or with this
Yeah,
constant evolution and turning
yeah,
their backs and saying, "Ah, nah, what are you doing?" One day you say this, and the other
yeah.
day you say that. I guess there are also people who reject this kind of evolution. So,
I,
um,
yeah,
if there are some people, I guess if you have a track and your track spans a different genre than the last track, and the people who helped you produce or release this track, they are thinking about your last track, and now you're coming around the corner with a total different track. Isn't this a hard thing to give the people the opportunity to adapt? Or
yeah.
did you make the experience that people are glad to not being confined to this linear genre kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, I think that's you bring up two great points, Flo. I think that number one, personally, there are friends and people that I feel like I'm disconnected with since I began this evolution. I think there's people that and I don't think it's anybody's fault. I think there's friends that I have grown apart from. I think there's people that I've grown closer to. And again, I'm not, life is life, and I have no ill will in my heart for anybody I'm growing apart from, but this is the path that I want to be on. And hopefully we can come to common ground and be friends, whatever. But on the flip side of that, in regards to my music and the diversity in what I'm kind of giving the people, and giving myself for that matter, I am a pop, I'm a pop star. I'm a pop artist, a pop writer, and I am inspired by so many different types of pop music, and that span so many different, decades. So, some of my music, for the most part, could be felt like it's like kind of 80s inspired or 70s, or this last one, Under the Influence, to me, I was really inspired by, like, early 90s, like CNC Music Factory, and Mariah Carey, and so I think, and I have songs in production that are completely different than this. I have, songs that are kind of bright and pop, really poppy, like really like, kind of just getcha, Carly Rae Jepsen. And then I have other songs that, I'm working on that are a little bit more laid back, a little bit more sexy, a little bit more, fill in the blank of what artist you want it to be, but at the core of it, I'm Theresa. And at the core of it, I want to entertain people. I want to keep myself on my toes. I want to keep it interesting to me. And like, I gotta say, even looking back at my own catalog of music, because I've released quite a few singles at this point over the past few years. I'm always like, wow, that's so, I can't believe I wrote that song, or I can't believe that was the production decision that we made, and I think that's a cool thing. I think that my evolution of my own music has been really interesting for even me to watch. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
That's what evolution is about.
Yeah, I don't know what the new Diplo album is going to inspire me to do. Like, I don't know. But sometimes it's not even just like other music that I'm listening to. Maybe it's just like an event or somewhere, being somewhere and hearing a track and being like, oh, I'm getting into this. I want to do something kind of like this. And then, sometimes I come to approaches knowing the style I want to do stuff in. And sometimes I'm taking ideas to my collaborators, and I'm like, I have this idea. Here's the melody. I could go any number of ways, and, and working through that way.
So there's not just an inspiration, an external source, if you will, but several factors, including what comes out of you in addition with what's happening around you, so to speak.
Exactly.
For okay.
Exactly. I get a lot of the inspiration. Funny enough, like, again, I work a lot. I like to work. And I get a lot of joy out of my day-to-day at the agency, and I get to work with a lot of really interesting, creative people. So that does inspire me. And the creative work that we put out, I don't create my music for advertising or, for sync licensing. I think my music is catchy. I think of course it could be used in a commercial or a movie or a TV show, but I'm not writing for that. I'm writing for the thrill of writing a pop song that one day everyone will hear on the radio and know all the words and sing along with me at Madison Square Garden. So that is the motive of what I am doing here, Flo.
Do you know what pieces of the puzzle formed under the influence exactly from external sources and internal sources?
I feel like it really just depends. It depends on, internal, external. They kind of, I would say, influence each other in a way, because I never know what's coming out. I never know what the, everything that's going to happen, how it's all going to unravel.
That's the excitement of it in the end, because you never know if you come up with 10 different versions of a song and like 8 of them. So that's also a downside, because you might find yourself having to choose 1 or 2 of the versions.
Exactly.
So with the whole COVID mess happening the past months, I guess you're dying to get back on stage, or are you even doing live shows again? right now?
Yeah, I just recently started doing live shows. I had a sold out show in October at Rockwood, which is a really wonderful independent music venue here on the Manhattan's Lower East Side. And just last week, I played the legendary Pete's Candy Store in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and that had a standing room as well. So that was really great. I've got some other opportunities coming up soon too. But it's been really, so just so you know, and I don't know if you read this, Flo, or knew about this, but I was starting to rehearse with a band right before COVID, literally the night before the world shut down.
Okay.
I had my first rehearsal with a full band. It was great. It was like this, like, ah, yes. And then wah wah, COVID starts, and that was that. So that kind of sucked. So I didn't really get to start exploring this like performing side of myself until just maybe about this time last year. I was like, okay, I want to start getting my live act together. When the world was starting to open up slowly, I said, okay, let me just start thinking about this. And I started to kind of rehearse over the summer, because I did play some live gigs when I was a young gal. I was in a band called the Yips in my early to mid 20s, and we did play around New York City. But I gotta say, like, a long time has passed since then. And I just wanted to get my sea legs, if you know what I mean. So I started rehearsing, and October rolled around, and I had my first gig, and it was just such a rush, just this feeling. And I love the singing aspect. I love the writing aspect. I love all of that. But then you bring in the live performing, and I feel like it brings you another side of Theresa that you would not necessarily have known. I think that I get up on stage again, talk about a drive, talk about, like, I get up there, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. No matter for better or for worse, I am up here and I'm doing this. So it's been very, very cool to do, explore and play and really get to know myself.
If you had to choose now, if you only play live in the future or do studio tracks, which one would you prefer?
Ah, that's not fair. I think that, nah, I got to do both. Sorry,
Yeah,
Flo, I
yeah,
can't choose. I
that's
can't
what I
choose.
thought, because both of them have their magic, and you cannot really choose one or the other, I guess. But I this rush you talked about when entering the stage, when going up there, and I kind of back in the days I was playing as a drummer in a band, and every time it was like that's not even me on the stage. I just felt I do whatever I want to do. Of course, I have some restrictions, but in the end, it was a total different feel than actually standing in the studio and recording a track over and over again. But on the other hand, you can do the track the right way. You can polish the tracks there and give them a great shiny appearance, so to speak. So there are different aspects. I guess no artist can choose between one or the other.
Yeah, I think that for me, I enjoy all the aspects. Like I actually, going back to the songwriting, I really also enjoy just that moment of me pen to paper. And then I also enjoy being in the studio and working with producers and musicians. And then that feeling, like you were just saying, as you were a drummer, that feeling that you're on stage, and there's this energy that's coming through you that you don't know where it's coming from, and that feeling when you get off the stage being like, oh my gosh. And I think that each of them plays such an important part of who I am, especially who I am right now. And I find value, and they're so rewarding to me in so many different ways.
Mm. So with the live gigs, of course, hopefully happening more over the time, what are the future plans for Theresa?
Yeah, well, I will be playing more gigs. I'm gonna manifest my future right here, Flo. I'm gonna be playing a ton of gigs. More and more people are gonna find the magic in Theresa, and I hope to continue to write amazing pop songs, put them out into the universe. Um, I want to be the oldest woman to win a Best New Artist Grammy. That is definitely in the cards for me. I want to share my experience, my story. I want to inspire people to follow their dreams at any age. I just want to live this life and really do it and really feel it and really do things that make me feel good and bring people along with me for the ride. So I don't know what I'm going to write about next. I am working on a song, but I know that it's going to be fabulous. I know that, I may not know how I'm going to get to where I want to be in my head, but I'm just going to keep going, keep, collaborating with great people, keep making friends with new people, and just put myself out there. Because as I said earlier, I have nothing to lose.
So this is your manifest, and that's exactly how it's going to happen.
Thank you, Flo. When we have it here on tape,
I
it's
have
filmed.
proof. I will call you on it. So,
Aw,
Theresa, thank you very much for meeting me tonight. It was a pleasure to have you here. Guys out
thanks.
there, let me end this interview with one of my favorite Theresa quotes from her. Our dreams do not expire. So with that being said, keep on living your dreams, take care, and see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye. Thanks again.